Hello everyone, welcome back to Assetto Corsa Competizione for today's low-fuel motorsport GT3 sprint race at Silverstone. Now I'm fearing the worst here. It's not a track I go well on and I've been dropped into a high split. I'm car number 22 on a grid of 23 and I've qualified down in P18. My time of 2:00.7 is about as fast as I can go, so even making it into the top 15 will be a tough ask. Not only that, 16th to 20th are separated by less than 3/10 of a second. This could well be a long race. And it looks like a couple of the drivers behind got much better getaways as the lights went green. Matisse Borges in that yellow and blue Porsche making a move up the inside. There's a car that spun out to the left. There's traffic cones firing up into the sky like rockets. And we have been hung out to dry through Cox there. And as a result, 3 of the 5 drivers behind me on the grid have got past already. Not just Borges, but Matthias Scharf in the Ferrari and Arno Hankes in the Porsche too. So yeah, things not looking good at all here on the first lap. But there's a big incident coming out of Beckett's. It looks like we lost 3 cars there. So that has at least given me back the 3 positions that I lost coming out of T1. We'll go back and check out the replay of that incident shortly. But for now, it looks like we're going to get done at the end of the hangar straight. That McLaren of Vyacheslav Kudratsev was way quicker coming down the straight, and he's made the move up the inside into Stone. Now, I'm not too worried about defending at this point of the race. I know I'm one of the slowest drivers on track. I can also see that it is incredibly aggressive out here, so I think the sensible option is just to play it safe, certainly on this opening lap or 2. We've already seen at least 4 drivers bite the dust, and I'm sure there's going to be more as this race progresses. So if I haven't got the pace to challenge these guys on track, maybe I've got the common sense just to play it safe and pick up the freebies when they come. I think that's about as good as it's going to get for me in this race. I'm really struggling here at Silverstone. I always do. Oh, yellow flags are out. There is a car off track to the left. I just hung it out a bit wider there, thinking that he might be rejoining. It doesn't look like he did. So that's another position gained, and it's actually put us into the top 15. So that's a position I wasn't expecting to be in, certainly on pace alone. But as we approach Brooklands, there's going to be a really late move from Mario Gruber behind. Once again, I saw that really late, and I just decided to abort my corner and give him the space to get through. Like I said, I don't want to take any risks at all. I just want to get through these opening couple of laps unscathed. Well, surviving unscathed was something a lot of drivers weren't able to do on this opening lap. Let's check out the replay and keep your eye on the driver in 4th, that red Ferrari of Ryan Schuling. He is going to get torpedoed by the Porsche of Magno Verhel there. Let's watch it again from the chopper cam. Now look at that blue Porsche on the inside. Verhel is going to come from way back and there's big contact. It sends the Ferrari out. Verhel crashes too, so that actually gave us 2 positions. I didn't even see the Porsche on the right. But on to Maggots and Beckett's, and it got even rougher. We're watching the number 6 BMW of Jacob Sabora, and he actually gets tapped from behind by the number 20 Ferrari of Matthias Scharf. That sends him into a spin, and he takes 2 other drivers with him. Let's watch it again from up above. Now that yellow and blue Porsche at the back of shot, Matisse Borges, he's one of the casualties. The other is the red Ferrari of Gero Urso. Thankfully, I was just far enough back to get through that safely. A gap opened up at the perfect time for me. Right, fast forwarding to later in the lap. We're now watching the number 21 Ferrari. That's Miguel Jimenez, who actually qualified P8. So this is one of the front runners getting it all wrong through the loop there. At this point, I thought he was going to rejoin, so I gave him a wide berth, but he did exactly the right thing. He waits for the traffic to pass. On to Brooklands then, and this is one of the corners I really struggle with, and I'm in way too deep there. Look at the size of the gap I left. It's no wonder Mario Gruber went for that one. Halfway through lap 2 then, and already I'm struggling to keep up with these cars in front, and more worryingly, I've got one of the front runners closing in fast behind. We saw Ryan Schuling get punted out at T1. Well, he is back and closing in fast, so I suspect we're going to be under some real pressure from that red Ferrari. Meanwhile, in the foreground, you may have seen a black Porsche completely missing the previous corner. That was Arno Hankes. Goodness only knows where he ended up. Milton Keynes, I expect. But anyway, Hankes' gap has promoted us back into the top 15. However, I don't think I'll stay there for long because Schuling is breathing down my neck now. Yellow flags are out though into Brooklands. And there's a Porsche facing the wrong way in the middle of the track, so we're going to have to be really careful to get around. Oh, but look at Schuling. That was a cheeky overtake under the yellow flags. I went wide to get around the Porsche safely. Schuling nipped up the inside and passed both of us. So yeah, lap 2 was equally as dramatic as lap 1. Let's check out the replay to see what went down. We'll start with the Porsche of Arno Hankes, and yeah, he got it all wrong coming down the international straight. Now, this is one wild ride for Hankes. He's out onto the grass to the left, he's out onto the grass to the right, and then he can't get it stopped. Moving on to Brooklands then, we saw an even bigger incident. The Porsche of Adrian Dangleterre making a move up the inside of Affinam Thipsang in that McLaren. There's contact and the Porsche spins out. Dangleterre does everything right here. He stays still to give everyone the best possible chance to get around. However, one driver that was really opportunistic was Ryan Schuling. He makes a move up the inside, passing the stricken Porsche and overtaking me at the same time. So a little bit cheeky for sure, but I'm not too worried about that. I knew that Schuling was so much faster than I was. It was only a matter of time before he overtook me anyway, so at least doing it that way, it was clean and safe. The pair of us will be just arriving into shot shortly. Meanwhile, I didn't realise that the McLaren spun out too. Affinam Thipsang qualified P6, so that is another one of the front runners we've lost. He rejoins though right behind me, so I suspect we'll be under pressure from Thipsang. Lap 3 then, exiting Beckett's, coming through Chapel and out onto the hangar straight. I'm in 14th position, 0.5 of a second ahead of Thipsang in the McLaren, and I am just about keeping up with this pack of cars in front. Now I know that they're all faster than me, but they're fighting so closely together, it's allowed me to get right onto the rear of Schuling again, and we've lost 2 more drivers out to the left there. It looked like Todd Lewis in the McLaren and Dennis Rimsky in the Ferrari, so all of a sudden we find ourselves up into 12th position, but we're going to be under real pressure now from Thipsang. He closed right in through Vale. But incredibly, we find ourselves within a sniff of the top 10 at the moment. I did not expect to be saying that 3 laps into this race. There are some incredibly quick drivers in this split, but we've already seen about 9 or 10 of them crash out. Let's just hope that I don't add to that statistic. We're going to be under pressure now from Thipsang. He's going to move to the inside. Now, I'm not going to defend this, because if I can just stay alongside him around the outside, I know I've got the inside for these next 2 corners. I don't think there's a way around for the McLaren here. Just so long as I keep my nose in front, get to this apex first, I will hold on to 12th position. I'm not sure for how long though. Thipsang is without a doubt going to have another bite as quickly as possible. We know he's quick. He qualified P6 on the grid. Now I make a big effort to take a tighter entry into Brooklands this time. I don't want a repeat of the move on the opening lap that Gruber pulled to get past. So we are holding on to 12th position. We're going to go up to 11th because there is yet another crasher. Incredible. Is anyone actually going to finish this race? Well, here's a replay of the incident at Stowe on the previous lap. Watch the red Ferrari of Dennis Rimsky. He just runs in way too hot, careers into the back of Todd Lewis in the McLaren, on board with Rimsky now. Yeah, he's carrying an insane amount of mid-corner speed, nowhere to go. Lewis won't even know what hit him there. And still the front runners keep on spinning. We're now watching Andreas Perker in P5, getting it all wrong in that Ferrari coming through Woodcut. So Perker's spin promoted me up into 11th position. A lap later, I was going to get into the top 10. This is the race leader, William Way, having to serve a drive-through penalty. So as we return to the live action halfway through lap 5, we'll find me amazingly inside the top 10, and I'm doing a pretty decent job of holding off Thipsang behind. However, I am going to make a mistake through this tight section. I'm just going to run it a bit hot, and that causes me to lose the rear on exit. The car oversteers, it opens up a big gap on the inside, and Thipsang says thank you very much. So yeah, pushing just a little bit too hard there. I was actually starting to gap Thipsang, but that mistake has sent me out of the top 10. We're going to fast forward now to the start of lap 6. It's unlikely that I've got the pace to force my way back into the top 10, but if this first 10 minutes is anything to go by, it's highly likely that some of these drivers in front will make mistakes. But at the moment, Thipsang is making a break for it. He's 0.6 of a second clear already. There we go. We have lost someone coming through Beckett's. And it's Ryan Schuling. So Schuling, who nicked that position from us under yellow flags, has given it back to us. Yeah, Schuling clearly pushing really hard. He started P4 on the grid and he finds himself well down the order. He's gained several positions, but he just asks too much of that Ferrari coming into Beckett's, and he loses the rear. We're jumping forward now to the final 5 minutes of the race, and astonishingly, astonishingly, I am still inside the top 10. However, two faster drivers are closing in fast behind, namely Perker and D'Angleterre. Now, at the moment, I've got a back marker in between us, but not for long. We are going to lose Magno for hell. You might have just seen him in the rearview mirror there, running out into the gravel. So that could be worrying for me, because it means both Andreas Perker and Adrian D'Angleterre have got a clear road in front of them to close in on me. But thankfully, they ended up fighting with each other instead. That's Perker in 11th, closely followed by D'Angleterre in 12th, and D'Angleterre just tags the rear of that Ferrari and sends him spinning out into the barrier. Yeah, rough move that. We've seen a lot of those in this race, but we're riding on board now with the Porsche driver, D'Angleterre. We can see the Ferrari in front just gets out onto the grass a bit. D'Angleterre's carrying more pace and he just drives through him. Well, that left D'Angleterre as my main threat for a top 10 position, but then on the very next lap, he loses it too. So with all these faster drivers crashing out, the only worry I've got now over this final lap is the red Ferrari that you can see in my rearview mirror. That's a back marker. It's Gero Urso. He's really applying pressure now to try and unlap himself. Now, usually I would pull aside and let him go for the sake of safety, but I'm slightly worried about Todd Lewis in 11th. He's only 3 seconds back. I know he's a lot quicker than me, so I think my best chance of holding on to this top 10 position is if I keep a back marker between us. Now, there's no real reason why Urso should be pressuring me so hard. He's in a lonely 19th position, but look in the rearview mirror, he's going to brake really late and he comes so close to taking me out there. Well, my top 10 finish almost went up in smoke, and now I am rattled. I'm regretting this decision to try and keep a back marker between us. I'm flustered, I'm in a panic, and as a result I make a big mistake coming into this fast right-hander. I miss my braking point completely. I can't get it turned in. I'm out onto the runoff area, but I'm going to be really careful about rejoining here. Leave as much space as I possibly can on the inside for Urso to get past and unlap himself. This is my first mistake of the race, and it almost proved costly. Thankfully, I am still holding on to that 10th position, but look at the damage it's done to my advantage over Lewis behind. He is now just 0.6 of a second back. And in hindsight, I wish I just lifted off the throttle going down the hanger straight to let Urso by up the inside. I would probably lost half a second max, but now we're under real pressure coming through this final section. Can we hold Lewis off? Can we claim an unlikely top 10? The pressure is on as we come out through Woodcote. It looks like we might have done enough. Lewis is 0.3 of a second back, so as we begin the charge to the line, I am going to take the checkered flag and hold on to my top 10 position. Well, that was a far more nervy finish than I'd hoped for, and it was all due to this. Urso out-braking himself and almost collecting me there into that chicane. Now, up until this point, I'd driven a safe and sensible race, but it all went to pot here. I completely missed my braking point. I was in a panic over that red Ferrari behind, and that put me under all this unnecessary pressure from Todd Lewis around the final few turns. Thankfully, I was able to regain my composure in the nick of time, and I had just enough of an advantage to hold Todd Lewis off out of Woodcote. We begin the charge to the line, and I'm going to hold on and take that 10th position. But let's make no mistake about it, I was one of the worst drivers on this grid. There is no way I deserve to be anywhere near the top 10, but I managed it purely by staying out of trouble. So what a turnaround here at Silverstone. I feared the worst when I saw that I'd been placed in such a high split, but I guess sometimes a high split doesn't necessarily mean high ability. Simply by hanging back and letting all these faster drivers crash out, I've taken a car with a number 22 plate into the top 10. Hopefully next time I'll be placed into a more evenly matched split and I can actually compete for places rather than relying on freebies. But for now, from Silverstone, it's time to say goodbye and thank you for watching.